Hi everyone that's checking in. Oh my God, it's so great to see you guys. Thank you for all the loves. So I actually came on today because I wanted to talk about Golden Horse Skates. I've been telling you guys about the company, and there's a lot of options that they have, and they're really interested in like what you guys need. And I'm doing my best, like for the last couple months. It's been a lot of work, just trying to like help it, explain, because they come from an artistic and ice background. They're used to working with figure skaters and artistic ice skaters, and so I'm trying to like help bridge the gap for like what the street skaters need. I also, although I am an artistic skater and did that for a couple decades of my life, I still also feel like a street skater, because for many years I didn't have a car, and actually skates were my transportation in Los Angeles. And when I was on tour with George Clinton and Parliament Funkadelic, I took my skates with me, and that was actually how I got around. So, I identify because of, even as a kid actually, this is why I can't ride a bike, because, my friends would come over and I'd be like, let me get my skates. And then I would just like skate. I can kind of ride a bike, for the record. I a little bit learned at Burning Man, but I definitely drove off a ravine in Costa Rica once. I'm not safe on a bike. Digression, I apologize. So good to see all you guys. Hello, everybody. I don't know why I've been so nervous to do lives. I'm sorry. I'll try to adjust to this new platform. But anyway, so back to the skates. So when I grew up skating, we always had used skates. Skates cost $1,000 to $2,000 even when I was a child. And as a result, if you were like me and didn't come from a lot of financial means, you just bought used skates. So I was always in used skates from the time that I was 3. Well, actually, I was probably in rentals at 3. I think I got my first skates around 6. And then until I was 16, which is when I actually got my first pair of skates, and that were like my skates. And then unfortunately, I kept growing, and I grew 2 sizes out of those, but I actually kept that same pair the entire time I toured with Parliament Funkadelic. So for a decade plus, I was actually wearing skates that were 2 sizes too small, because I just did not have the money to afford a new pair. And then actually a fan of mine bought me a new pair. It was like so generous of him. Eric, we'll give it up to you. Thank you, Eric. So this was my second new pair of skates that I ever had in my life. And at this time I was already a professional skater and an adult. And then actually shortly after that, I quit Parliament, and I didn't know if I would skate ever again. Like, I didn't know like what I was doing really at that time. And that's when I met Trey Knight, and in Appaloosa, she helped introduce us, as did Terrell, and all the other skaters that are involved in the Los Angeles skate scene. And I joined the large show team with Chris, and that was when everyone started telling me I needed new skates. And at that time, I had just gotten like my first pair of fitting new skates as an adult. But eventually I did create an opportunity with Toyota where I was able to get a new pair of skates, and I upgraded to the recommendation. And it was very expensive. It was more than my car was worth at the time. It made it my most valuable asset, which says a lot about the life of an artist. But anyway, I want to get through the story as quick as possible. So, skates are really important, and I've always said to get used skates. But since COVID happened, what happened was a lot of used skates were always sold at 10% the value that you originally bought them. So if it's a $2,000 pair of skate, it's going to be like $200 to $300, maybe $500 if it's not very much used, dependently. But what happened, I noticed during the pandemic, was that all the used skates like skyrocketed in price, and everyone was like sometimes even charging more than they were for. And so used to it could be safe to say, hey, find a $300 pair of used skate, has a leather, boot, metal plate, adjustable toe stop, and you'll be good. But that kind of changed during the pandemic. So I actually just couldn't recommend anything anymore. And then I was introduced to this company, Golden Horse. And when they first contacted me, I checked around and I found out that yes, a lot of world-class skaters do use their equipment. They're primarily known in China, and a lot of like world champion skaters are on their equipment. And so that, gave me promise. But I was definitely concerned because they had a plastic plate, and right away I told them, like, I don't really like plastic plates. I don't trust them. And they promised me, like, oh, well, ours have been on skaters for 50 years because they're on their rental skates. And I was like, yeah, but, rink skating is much smoother than street skating. So, I actually expressed my concern and convinced them to go ahead and allow their really nice metal plate to be an option on all their skates. And that was like, I felt like a real big win because like, I know that, some people have been skating for 6-7 years, but you might not want like a really super stiff, hard boot, like, a really artistic Idea boot or whatever, So I felt like it was really important that everybody has that option. And then they also want to create like a middle plate that's also another metal plate, but won't be as expensive as their Vanguard plate. And so it'll be a middle ground. And then they also, told me that there was options in the pivots. And so I guess I'll start with talking about the plates. I have like a mini list, which I don't know, I'm terrible at keeping on time of things. But, and hi everybody, I appreciate all of your, like, your support here today. Okay, so I'm just gonna kind of go into these plate options that they have. So like I said, they're trying to develop, hopefully, and especially if you guys mention on their website, or you send them a message on Instagram saying like, yes, we would love a more affordable metal alloy plate. Like if you let them know that, like that's, like I've been telling them, but like I'm just one person. They really do want to like help provide, they know they have these elite level skates and they want to like help bring them to you guys. Okay, so back to the plates. So they started sending me some of their skates to try because honestly I was like, I don't know, I was skeptical. And so first thing I had them do was put the metal plate on their glide boot, and they actually made it a street noble. So we kind of like designed it together. They added the leather to it, as most of their plates are all plastic, which works really great for ice skaters because of, it doesn't get wet and get moldy. But for us, that's not important. And, I know a lot of, people like me, I prefer leather. That was actually their original goal anyway. But they decided to put 2 models in leather now. So originally they were just going to do their softer one, and now they're doing one that's like slightly harder, and we created it the Noble, and that's actually for people like myself and maybe somebody else that does like really intense acrobatics, or if you're, say you're doing ramp stuff and you don't feel like you have enough support, like you want more support, that's where this option comes in. So first thing they did was they put a metal plate on that, and they sent me that, and then they sent me the 2 different options for their plastic plates. So when I started to discuss with them like why I don't like plastic plates, because they're very difficult to maneuver in, and I don't trust that they won't break, and they swore to me that they won't break, that they're good for up to 350 pounds. Then, like I said, they've been doing it for 50 years, and I haven't broke one yet, but, we're definitely, I'm excited to see that they continued to tell me about how, well, if you're worried about like the maneuverability, which is like anytime I've been in it, like I had a Chicago on tour once because the airlines lost my skates, and so I had to use Chicago's, and it was, oh my God, literally, I could barely skate, and then like literally the wheels fell off within 2.5 weeks. And I was only skating on the stage for like a couple of hours. Like I wasn't even trying to go on the street with them. So, I explained to them like, it's like yes, I worry about the strength, but also I worry about the maneuverability because, skaters need to be able to like create an edge, in order to skate. And, as you guys know, I'm always talking about the edge. So that's when they told me about an option that they had that they haven't used yet, but that they were willing to try, and that was the 360 pivot plate. So I'm going to show you these differences if I can figure out how to. Okay, so let's see. I can't see this is their standard plate, and you can see how the pivot is kind of square. It's actually got like a little bit of a tiny bit of a round, and I think this is I haven't tore apart a bunch of plastic plates, but I think this is what they standardly put in their rentals. And they told me that the upgrade option is this, which is, let's see, there it is. Can you see how it's like a round ball? And they called this their 360 pivot. And so I was like, yeah, let me try that. So they started putting them, it was actually more expensive for them, and they were like, should we charge more? And I'm like, yeah, if it if it's costs you more, certainly do. But they decided with the pandemic they didn't want to do that because they know everybody is hurting for cash. But they sent me the skates and they let me try them, and like honestly, all I can say is that I've never been able to skate as comfortably as I can on these plastic plates as I have ever on any other plastic plate. I definitely prefer the 360. For me, I can get a lot more edging, and I can like have a lot more control with that pivot plate. So I recommend it, but I understand where they come from, why they were even kind of afraid to try it was because it does like give you more edging that you can create. So, I can see where they think like beginners, might prefer to have the standard. So we just decided to leave it as an option for you guys, so that you could sort of decide for yourself. Even when, like I said, when I was a kid, I was always on used skates from the time I was like 6. I was on the best plate that a used skater, the best used plate that my mother could afford with her post office job. And so, I really always do recommend upgrading your plate. And so I just want to talk about one more thing about the plastic plates. Okay, so this here is the 360 plate. And obviously, like with any plate, you can adjust the truck and tighten it. I've never in my life changed cushings in a skate because I don't know, like I just always have had these like used nice skates, and maybe because I was a kid and other people did that. I should ask Mom. But yes, of course you can like switch these out, but you can take it apart. I took it apart in order to show you those pivots. The thing that I really like about the plastic plate, like I said, I can actually skate in it. I can catch edges in it, and I really like that. But I also really like the toe stop. As you guys know, I have a problem when people's toe stops spin out, like that's not something that should happen. And that was when they told me about their plastic plate, I was like, and the toe stops spin out, and I don't like that. And they promised me theirs didn't. And, to be honest, I feel like I have to do like 5,000 toe stop spins and pivots in order to like really know for sure if it spins out or not, But at this point, it has not spun out, and they were correct. And I should have took one of these out so you could see them, but I did video it. I'll put that out someday. I have so much editing to do. But this toe stop is a different mechanism, as you can see, than most plastic plates. Actually, I should have took it out. Inside, it's metal threading. And then this little bit right here, can you see this like crack right here? Jackie, my super smart engineer friend, like she explained it all. Like I was like, yeah, that makes sense. I actually studied a little engineering too. But it actually is kind of like a cone that goes into this other metal part, and when you tighten it, it expands, so it does like get in there really sturdy, and I've yet to spin any of these toe stops out. Okay, speaking of toe stops, so on the plastic plates, I think it could be different for the 360 plate, I should ask them, but I think that they're all imperial, so this is like an imperial toe stop, not a metric toe stop. But I believe that these ones might be 7 millimeter and the standard is 8, but I'm not sure about that. I think that is the case though. So anyway, back to the things I do know for sure is that this toe stop's a nice bouncy material. Like I always talk about how you need to have a bouncy material for your toe stop. They did actually send me one that had like a small toe stop, and for me as a street skater, I don't like that. But then I read on some pages that like ramp park skaters like that, and I know dance skaters like that kind of do both like that. And so I suggested they leave that as a dance stop. If you guys like the idea of having optional toe stop sizes, certainly that's something to let them know. Okay, so I feel like I'm done with the plastic plate. I'm going to show you the other plastic plate. This is the standard plastic plate, and it looks basically the same, and oh wait, I might be able to, this one doesn't feel like I have the toe stop tightened, so I might be able to pull it out. Oh, good. Good. Let's see. Oh, no, I'm going to need a tool. And I don't know if I have that tool there. I hate like doing physical work on the camera because then I know I'm like grunting. Oh, good. It's coming out. Oh, good. Oh, and I threw it across the room. Okay, awesome. Great. I got this out so I can show you. So you see how this is metal in here? So it's not like plastic into metal, it's metal into metal. And then here's the toe stop. And do you see how it's got this thingamajig here? So this goes in, and then once you tighten it, it like actually expands a little bit into the plastic steel, as they call it. Okay, good. So now you've seen that. All right, now I'm gonna go ahead and talk about the Vanguard plate. That's their metal plate, and yeah, it is expensive. I believe it's like 400 maybe, but still, like my best friend, Crystal, she just got the Street Magic with the high cut and the Vanguard plate, and it like cost her just a little over 500. Honestly, for me growing up, that's not a ton of money. That's like what I would pay for a used skate, you know? So, I just want to like let you know that. And also, if you do consider going to the metal plate and you take care of your metal plate, like it can last you for 10, 20 years, maybe even your whole life, you know, and you can just switch out the boots from that point forward. So this is why I always recommend upgrade to the metal plate. And this is why I begged that we had that option with the Golden Horse. So this is the metal plate. I don't know what to say much more than it is 7mm wheels, and it is a metric toe stop. And I love this toe stop. It's super bouncy. It reminds me of like well, it's like in between a Short Grip Super Pro and or the Snyder Pro toe stops and the Roll Line. It's like kind of in between the two actually, but it's a natural toe stop. They come with, well, they don't come with, but you can order. I didn't bring the right ones, but you can order different options for the cushings. This part here, or the bushings. You can order different parts for that, and based on your weight. And I have yet to kind of mess around with switching those out. Like I said, that's not something that I really ever did as a skater. You adjust this one right here the same way, and it's actually got a number system so you can kind of know where your adjusting is. And the toe stop comes out right here. You just use an Allen wrench, and you just have to be super careful, always super careful, never push, even with the other one, because you're metal on metal, never push a toe stop in if it's starting to feel wishy-washy or crazy, like stop, go back, check it, make sure there's nothing in it, do it again. Okay, great. So let's move on then. My little situation's all set up here. Okay, so I talked about the plates. Let's talk about the boot and the support. This is really important because I always talk about support. And so the first skate that they sent me is this here, the Street Magic. And this is like where the support is at it. You can tell it's a pretty strong support. They had it, I suggested they put it at a support rating of 20. It guts quite low in the back. That's a little lower than the way that I, prefer to skate with. So I actually, but I do know some people do, like if you wanting to do like roller dance moves, you're gonna want like a lower cut. So we kind of talked about it, and they're gonna provide the option of a low cut or a high cut. So that's pretty cool, you can pick. If you're like me and you have little feet and are tall, then you might want the high cut, So also, this was the first tongue that came with them. And I personally felt like it wasn't thick enough. So I asked them to make it thicker. So they made it to this thickness. And you can see this is a nice thickness. And here's the lining. And if you're flat-footed, they have special insoles for that. They offer 4 different widths and half sizes. And like if you're like me, like I have one foot that is a size 7.5 and the other foot that's 8. So they give me one of each foot because that's what I need. And actually a lot of you guys might be having skate discomfort because of that. And I didn't know this because my feet sort of grew once I quit competing. But it wasn't until I got my Harlex that I found out, like, oh, that's why, like, I almost literally lost my baby toe because of wearing too tight of, shoes, trying to wear a 7.5 in both feet when one was an 8. So that's something that they'll help you with. You give them your measurements. So this is the blue color, and this is the thicker tongue. And this is, I think, the tongue that they decided to kind of make standard. Now, if you want to, though, you can actually upgrade to this tongue right here, which you can see where it's at, right? And this is a tongue that they're going to come standard with the Noble. But if it was me and I got the Street Magic and my friends, I recommend upgrading to this tongue here. All right, so back to the stiffness of the boots. So this is about the ankle support that you're going to get here from the Street Magic. And you can tell it's a decent amount. In relation, this is a Rydell 297, which is what I skated on for like, I don't know, too many decades. And you can see it's about the same. To me, in my opinion, the Rydell 297, as far as stiffness goes, is going to be your same as the Street Magic. This one hasn't broken in, that one has. To me, this one kind of looked like a more, but I just think it's because it's not broken yet. And the low cut's a lower cut than the Rydell, but the high cut's going to be about the same. All right, next on the list would be the Vegan Magic. I don't personally really like plastic skates, although I'm trying to adjust because a lot of the skate world has moved to that. But I know some of you guys, like, it's important to you to not use leather products, and they happen to already have a vegan skate, and they were calling it like their indoor magic, but I was like, a lot of people want it outdoors that don't want to wear leather, so I explained to them about, you know, the concept of vegan leather, and so they were like, cool, yeah, let's call it that. So it's the Vegan Magic, and it's super cute. I actually really like it, and I love the fit of it. I can't believe I'm like talking about a plastic skate this way, but like I felt pretty comfortable in these. And this is where its support is, so you can kind of see. Yeah, you can totally see. I'm going to move this tongue. You can see here's its tongue. It's a nice thick tongue. And then you can see, yeah, do you see how stiff it is? So to me, this one is more support than your Street Magic. And it has this kind of lining. It's like a different type of lining. And I can't believe, like every time I skate in these, I'm like, how is this price available, you know, on this skate? And this comes in like teal and white and black. Okay, so the next skate up in the like series that I'm helping with them, and anything harder, I think personally might be too hard for most of you guys, unless say you're like doing flips and ramps or whatever, you know you really need a hard boot, then you should consider those. But this is a really hard boot. This is the Street Noble, and it comes on that Vanguard plate. And then this is its stiffness. You see, I can't even get it to move. And here I'm trying to, do you see? So now, when I say ultra stiff, this is what I mean. This one's ultra stiff. It's pretty low cut in the back. It's lower cut than my Rydells, which I also know is kind of more contemporary. And I also know, again, I'm really tall and I have small feet, so that really kind of affects things. But I really like this skate. I really like this skate. I can't believe it's the price point it is. You know, and you can keep the plate. I like the plate a lot. I'm excited. I honestly have really only been skating in these since I started getting them. So that says something, you know, but I don't expect that I'll never skate in my other skates again, because, you know, we have different needs. And on that note, I'm going to show you the stiffness of the Harlech. So this is my very worn out Harlech. Poor Harlech. Worn out to death. Okay, and here's its tongue. Now it has a lamb's wool tongue, and you can see it's about, like, it's a little less stiff than the other tongues, about the same stiffness as the Street Magic tongue. And then pull this in. So here, try to get this tongue in. Here is, so you can see it's about the same as the Street Noble and the Vegan a little bit. And here's the side, and you can see I have like a little bit more flexibility on the side. But again, I've worn these for 3 years, so they're really broke in, whereas I haven't had the chance yet to break in the Glide. So I just wanted to reference back to this. So you can see it's a little softer than the Harlech, but about the same. And I think that the Street Noble is going to be a little bit harder than my Harlech, which I was actually, as a skater, ready for. I needed a harder boot. Okay, colors. So there's red. Am I in the camera? There's red. There's blue. There's purple. There's a beautiful light blue. I think this one's my favorite. There's green and pink. And I think there's also, there's a beige and a black. And like I said, for the vegan, there's a teal. Okay, great. Let's move on. What do we got? Okay, I want to talk about the wheels. All right, so for, they have 65 millimeter wheels, and yeah, I'm saying that right. And these are all really bouncy, hard, you know, outdoor, great, bouncy. They have these ones, which are solid. I don't know if they're going to sell those anymore, but they have these transparent ones, which are great, and they come in multiple colors. You can see, if you can kind of tell, it's got a nice bounce. They have their own like bounce system, and to me, I would say this feels about like a short grip aerobic or a luminous. It's got like a really great outdoor bouncy. I personally don't like a 65 millimeter wheel. It's too wide for me. I don't like it. So they have that wheel in the transparents. They also have it in the gold, but I pulled it off of my skates, and instead I put on these little gold wheels here. So they have these little gold wheels, so you can see the difference. This is a 65 and that's 55. I personally like littler wheels because I'm a roller dancer, you know. And so they have these in the gold. They also have the big wheels in the gold. And then they have the hybrid. Well, I'm calling it a hybrid wheel. They called it an indoor wheel, but to me, this is a hybrid wheel because it's definitely, I don't know if you can tell, it's got like a little bit of a bounce in it. And I love this wheel. I think it's got a great grip. And oh yeah, you can see, it's got this real cute light up, like it's like a rainbow. And then they have different color options. To me, this feels like about the hardness of like my Radar Energies, but a little bit grippier, which I actually like. And I also am surprised that I haven't destroyed these doing T-stops. They're actually quite resistant to that, which is great. Okay, so the last wheels that they have, which I really don't know if it'll interest any of you guys much, but they do have some like indoor, nice artistic wheels. It'll interest us when the rinks are open again. So I can't wait for a rink so I can try these wheels. I did kind of try them on some smooth cement. They seem nice, but I really need some nice rink wood to try it on. All right, and so that's the wheels. I like these gold wheels. I like the little pearlescent-y thing about them, but I personally think that these wheels are grippier, the transparent. And I've actually asked them to consider making the small wheel in the transparent because for me, I like to, when I put on an outdoor wheel, I kind of like it to be for everything. Like I can go outdoor or I can go indoor. It's like for those, the whole time that I was on tour with P-Funk, I just used one wheel, and it was that short grip aerobic wheel. And it like I could only use it because I knew no matter what they threw at me, I could handle it with those wheels. So that's kind of how I like my outdoor wheel to be personally. Okay, cool. So I already talked about used skates. I started there. I did the toe stops, and I did talk about metric versus imperial. So, geez, I think I'm done. Yeah, I just kind of wanted to like explain to you guys like why I like this company. I'm really just excited. I do think that you have to invest in proper sports equipment, and I hope that this is an option for people. I think it is. I really never thought, like the Vegan Magic, they just sent me the Vegan Magic this week because like so many of you guys asked about vegan skates, and I like honestly was like, I'm not gonna do no plastic food, you know? So, but so many people wanted it, and I realized, you know, that there's a need and a place for that. So I asked them to send me it, and I skated in it. It's like 40 degrees here in Oklahoma at my mom's house. But I went outside and I skated in them as long as I could in my nice, cute clothes from Pink Skate. They kept me warm because it's made for ice skaters. And I was really pleasantly surprised. I like them. I can skate in them. You know, this is only like around a couple, like $200. It's not a very expensive skate. I never thought, I never thought I would be like, oh, I can actually skate in this before. But I did. So I'm surprising myself, and I feel bad for being judgmental in the past. And I do hope that like we can create a relationship with this company that's like literally an artistic elite skate company that's like reaching to like help and provide. They want everyone to have proper ankle support, and like Helen tells me all the time, like, I just don't want for people's feet to hurt anymore. Like, she says that all the time. I don't want people's feet to hurt no more. You know, and I'm like, yeah, me too. Like, I don't want people's feet to hurt anymore. I don't want there to be broken ankles. And, you know, I know that like my body's different than everybody else's body. So that's why I'm like, well, this is low cut on me. Like, why don't we offer a high cut option, you know, so that we can try to, you know, it's hard to please everybody. We all have different needs as skaters, but I don't know. I like what they have to offer. And that's kind of why I'm excited to share it with you guys. Okay, good. So I don't know if there's any questions. I'm sure that there are. I'm going to I scroll through. You know, sometimes I appear like I'm good at Instagram and stuff, and I'm very confused. Yes, I did talk about the plates. Black Rabbit Queen, you'll have to go back and watch it. Can you take the Skate Noble to the park? I've not taken either of them to the park yet, but I'm going to the park next week, so I will do that. For me, when I see skate park people, and this is by Unspokenably Modern, cool name. When I see people, you know, I've been doing a little bit of ramp skating just because I actually want to like know and be like when I'm teaching a ramp skater, I want to know like, oh, like that's why they're jumping like that because it's like different, you know. And also it was kind of fun. I liked the ramps. And for me, when I was there, I was actually using my right L's, these ones, because I didn't want to run my really nice plates on my Harlocks, my roll lines, because at that time that was the like. Now I actually have the option with Golden Horse, but at the time that was all I had. So I was using these, and I didn't feel like it was enough ankle support for me personally. And so I did start wearing my Harlocks and just like try to be really careful to not do anything. But when I see videos of like the really amazing aggressive inline skaters that are doing ramps, I noticed they all have like really hard support on their ankle. So that's kind of one of the ways that I was able to convince Golden Horse to consider taking their glide skate and making the Street Noble out of it, because I was like, you know, I know that there's people like me that, you know, used to be doing double jumps and now we're not, but we still are used to that support level. And then there's also people that are doing flips on ramps. And so I'm hoping that this is an option for you guys. I'll definitely test it myself. And if any of you guys that are, you know, ramp skaters are really interested in Golden Horse, and really any of you guys that are interested, they are looking for other ambassadors. So, you know, I've been posting it. I'll continue to post the links for it. And it's on their website. I think they're going to put it there. We just kind of like got it moving. But they're looking for other ambassadors, and like someone that's really like done a lot of ramp that wants to kind of like help advise them. Like, it would be great. You know, I'd love your opinion. But I personally think for, you know, ramp skating, when you're doing flips, it depends on what you're doing. But if you want ankle support, definitely the Noble's got a lot of ankle support, as really does the Vegan. All right. Okay, so let's see. Okay, Radar Energy wheels are not all-day wheels to me. Same person, but I guess I got your questions. They are not, but I love them. To me, those wheels are really good for outdoor smooth surfaces, like if I find a basketball court or my tennis court at the mansion that I skate at, that ancient tennis court. As long as it's really smooth and there's no cracks, but if I hit those wheels out onto the street, I don't know, my joints, I just don't like it. I like a real gummy wheel out on the street, which is part of why I'm excited that Golden Horse has this little 65 millimeter gummy wheel, and why I'm actually really pushing them to make it in the transparent, because for me, that's more the consistency I like outdoors. Okay, let's see, I did show the boot covers slowly, but I don't know if I did that, slow enough or if I already did that. So I'm going to just roll through and, oh yes, I have a discount code. If you do want to buy some golden horse skates, my discount code is Space Queen, and they actually are giving an entire 10% off. And I'm just so excited so many of my friends have actually been doing it. Yes. Well, see, okay, I'm excited about custom boot, but I just need to save money before I can get any new skates. Yeah, exactly. You know, and I think it's important, and this is again why like I always really recommend the metal plate if you can upgrade to that option, even if you save a little, you know, you have to take another month or two to save, just because that plate lasts you forever. So it seems like a lot, like, oh my God, I spent $400 on a plate, but in 10 years when you're still using the same plate, you'll be like, oh, I actually spent $40 a year for this plate, you know, so it doesn't seem like so much. No. Okay. Elana says, are they heavy? Because I feel like mine are so heavy. And then I see a video and they seem to be so light. You are correct. They are so light. So my Harlequins are very light. These I actually paid loads of money to, like extra money to have them even lighter because I, you know, spin around Trey's neck. Okay. These are, I think these are about 5 or 6 pounds each. And then the Noble, which is basically the equivalent. Let me put it in the same hand. Let's see. Da, da, da. Yeah, this is definitely heavier. So I'm going to guess, I haven't weighed them yet, but I'm going to guess that the Nobles are probably around 4.5 pounds each. And you got to use the same arm because we all have a stronger arm, you know. And the Vegan, I feel like the Vegan's about the same. And the Street Magic is incredibly light. The Street Magic is probably going to be, I don't know, they're probably around 3.5, 4 each. That's kind of a rough guess. But they're definitely lighter than anything I have, certainly lighter than my short grip Imperial plate. This is a great plate if you ever find it used. But they're very light, yes, incredibly light, which is fun for me. I've never had skates in colors, and I've never had such a light skate. And I've never really had so many new skates. It's really weird for my mom to be here with me and we're like getting these skates in for me to test and try to help the company. You know, like when the first tongues came and I said, no, we need a wider tongue because I put it on some of my students in Oklahoma City within Spiral Circus. And they're different sized people than me, you know, and they were like, oh, like we need thicker tongue, you know, wider tongues. So I wrote back to Golden Horse and they're like, great, we'll make wider tongues. You know, we want it to be a skate for everybody. All right. And my students, by the way, they loved them. You know, the first lesson or two that I did with them, they all had their own skates. And then as these prototypes came in, I put them in them and they were like, oh my God, Kim. I was like, I know, this is like the difference. Okay. Let's see, what else do we have? Yes, I do think the quality of a skate is very important. Great question, because, you know, a lot of people think of skates as fashion, and it's fun for me actually to finally have fashionable skates. Having been skating for so many decades in just white skates, it's really fun to like actually have fashion. But skates are not fashion, they're sports equipment. And so that's why I've always been so harsh on plastic plates and cheap skates, because, you know, and why I was so skeptical of them. But like whenever I get this boot and it's like this much ankle support, that's not, you know, it doesn't feel like a cheap skate to me. It's an affordable skate. And yes, if you were really serious about skating and you really wanted to commit, you know, like there's other options to go. But this is a great option for someone that's like getting into skating and they want something cute and they want something that's quality. You know, you want to kind of go with a reputable brand. This brand, none of us really know that much, but a lot of people around the world do know them and they have a good reputation for world-class skates. Okay, the brand is Golden Horse Skates, if I haven't said it. Yes, the gold lining is really nice. A lot of people really like it. I've always had leather-lined skates, so I'm interested to see, you know, how I feel about it as it goes, but it does actually feel cushy now, so, and I know that my students really liked that part as well. Yeah, the red and yellow. Thank you. That was like my color. It's like the Skate Like a Pro color choice, you know, that got kind of put together. And that was like the ones that I most liked. Okay, I'm looking, I'm screening. Thank you guys for your support. You know, I know that it's really confusing for me to like be even considering wearing a plastic plate myself. And I understand, and I apologize for, you know, being overly judgmental. And actually even to Golden Horse, because when they contacted me, I was like, no, I don't think so. You know, like, you know, but I think that I'm willing to give it a try, and every time I skate in them, I'm like, oh my god, I kind of geek out. I'm like, these are such, I can't believe it. They're like, this is great, because I know not everybody has, like, a lot of you guys are like me. Like, I didn't have $2,000 for skates. And I wanted to skate, and I had to get used skates. And but I had people that could help me. I had coaches and rinks and a mother, you know, and so they would guide me to find these used skates. And it's hard to even know anymore what's a good used skate and what's not a good used skate. But it is important to have a good skate. And I always think of it as musicians. Like, you know, if you're a musician and you're in a band, you're in the Rolling Stones, you're not going to show up with your, you know, Casio keyboard from Walmart, you know, like you're going to show up with your $2,000 Yamaha. And, you know, there's a reason, because of the tone that comes out of it, because it's not going to like tweak out and mess up the show. You know, there's reasons for that because of the way that it feels when you play. So when you do your scales, you're actually doing scales, not like clunk, 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 and you're missing notes because the keyboard can't pick up as quick as you can. And these are all reasons why I, again, also upgrade, you know, think of the metal plate upgrade option being good. Let's see what else. Okay, I see more people asking for the to see the skates. So maybe I'll just kind of like, I just want to thank you guys, everyone that's still here and everyone that came in. Like, I really appreciate it. I don't know, it's like I'm trying to adjust to this online world. It was at the beginning of COVID, you know, it was like everything I did my whole life turned off. All of entertainment industry, all of live music. And so we're all trying to adjust. So I'll just talk, I guess, while I hold them. So this is the purple skate with a transparent wheel. This one does have the 360 pivot plate. I'll show you that again just as another reminder. So here's the 360 pivot. And then here is the standard pivot. So you can kind of tell this one's going to give you like a lot more lean, but it also means it's going to give you a lot more lean. Okay, so here is the vegan skate, which is pink. I feel like I showed that one a lot, which is strange. This is the Noble in light blue. I love this one. I know myself, because I do so much like groundwork, it's going to get destroyed in that color, which is why I'm asked for the red, because I feel like just for my skate style, this is probably going to last longer. And so this is, again, the Street Noble in red. And here's the Street Magic in green. And here's a Street Magic in pink. And here's a Street Magic in dark blue. And I guess the last thing I'll talk about is like that, you know, for me, like I was saying, this deeper cut, I have oddly sized feet. So I was actually a size smaller than we thought I would be. And so, so for me, that like the higher cut was better. And so that's why I was like, hey, can we make the high cut option? They said that should be available next week or so, which is really exciting. And I think that's it. And, you know, I think some of you guys will prefer the low cut. I know some of you guys get in a stiff boot and you're like, this is too stiff. So for you, you're going to want that low cut. And then for those of you guys that are like me and you're like, oh, my ankles, like I want more support, like you're going to want to get the high cut or the vegan or the glide. I think that's about it. Oh my God, I made it through my list. I'll like slide through one more time and just see if there's any like question that I should answer. I'll go to like the very end. You know, I love this question here by, I wonder what your name is, Miss A. Figari. She's asking here, do I know of any charities that will help raise money for skaters to get a pair? Well, I definitely think That's a great idea. Maybe that should be the charity, because I've been thinking with my Skate Like a Pro program that I want it to kind of like jump in with and do like a week where part of the, you know, or all the proceeds, you know, or whatever, go to a charity, and maybe half, or I don't know. And so maybe that would be the charity. Maybe we should like create the charity. We'll create the charity so we can raise money for skaters. I love this idea. Like literally this morning I woke up going like, God, I have to find the right charity. Like there's so many amazing purposes, but I guess this was like a sign from God. Yeah, you're right, because skates are so expensive. And I can understand how it's like really hard if you're not sure if you want to skate, you know, and that's where like actually the vegan option or the plastic plate option really is good, because, you know, it's a good way for you to get started. And, you know, I know that there's cheaper skates that are out there, like you could start with like I mentioned Chicago earlier, or like an Impala, or, you know, there's like, and they're actually, you know, you can try them and they're good, especially if you don't know if you want to commit. But like I said, what happened to me was literally within 2.5 weeks, like my Chicago wheels, like my axle fell apart. And I know I skate pretty hard, but I was just on a stage. So, you know, I just don't want for people to like waste their money, you know. It's better to just kind of go ahead and save up a couple more months and then buy like a slightly nicer skate. And you can also spend that time to, you know, go around and look for used skates. You know, my ice skates and my inlines currently are both used. Hint, hint, Golden Horse. Like, I'll have to get my I'll have to use my coupon code for myself and get some Golden Horse skates, get some ice skates from them. But currently I'm in used ice skates and inlines, because I didn't have, you know, those sports were both kind of like you know, hobbies. So I didn't really think about wanting to invest $2,000 in each of them. So I bought used. I think I paid $300 used for my ice skates, and I think I paid $300 used for my inlines. I definitely like the metal plate best. Personally, for me skating, I can tell a difference. I'm very impressed with the 360 pivot plate. I definitely am like, wow, I could do a gig in it. Like if someone wanted to hire me and they needed me to wear a pink pair of skates, I now have them. But I would put the metal plate on for sure whenever I'm like working on illusions or jumps, or when I'm doing anything nitty gritty. Like if you're doing things like jumping and spinning on your skates, then you should definitely be upgrading your skates. We should talk about that, Miss Iatari Roller. We should definitely, let's get together and do it. I love you so much. It would be so fun to collaborate with that. She says she knows some organizations that help raise monies and provide skates to countries. Cool. Well, that's interesting. You know, and I think maybe we could work with them, and then also, you know, try to provide skates to like, you know, people in America that need them too. Have you talked about sizing in Golden Horse? Same shoe size, or yeah. The way they do sizing is they actually have you send in measurements. Great question, Mary June Who. Mary June Who. They have you send in your measurements. So they have a system where they like have you step on a ruler. They prefer metric because it's obviously, you know, more smaller number of spaces. And they actually give you skates based on the measurements of your feet. So that's how they do that. So the sizing thing is kind of, it's, you know, they have all sorts of sizes. Like I said, they have 4 different width options. And then they also have half sizes just as like standard. Some companies, by the way, do offer, you can get like I have 7.5 and an 8. Like some companies do offer that, like Rydell does, but you have to pay extra for it, which is great that they offer it. But it's great because Golden Horse does it for free. Like it's just part of their custom. That's like why they call themselves, it's like a semi-custom fitting, because of they're gonna like work with you and your sizes. Same size. So yeah, that answers that question. And I felt like that answers that question. Yeah, you know, I mean, Rydell's can be great, especially if you're getting like the separate boot. I used to always recommend, you know, them, and they were my skate that I was on for many years. But I know people want like the cool colors. And I really like Golden Horse. I just think they're really good skates. And I definitely am super excited to continue to, you know, skate in them. All right, so I feel like, yes, hold them up a little bit longer. That means I'm holding them too quick. Okay, well, we'll end the show with like a skate off. La, da, da. This is the Vegan Magic with the small gold wheels and the 360 pivot plate. And da da da. This beauty is the Noble in the light blue with the Vanguard plate, extra thick tongue. Da da da. This is the red Noble. Doo doo doo. It also has the extra thick tongue. Da da da. This is the light green. I didn't think I'd like the color, but I actually really love it. It's like my least favorite, I thought, but almost my favorite color. And da da da, matches my blue background. Here is the blue with the light up wheels. And last but not least, maybe not because there's one more color. This is the purple. I feel like they're kind of close. They do have these different option colors for the laces. They're only $2, so you can just do what my friend Crystal did, and she just went and bought all the colors. And they do have these little loops right here. And the last color I didn't show you in the slow-mo video is the pink. Oh, and they come with this really cute little golden horse chain. Doo-doo-doo. And this one I took the toe stop out for you guys. You can see that metal in there. Oh, and this is a good thing too. You can see they're stitched. They're actually stitched. In fact, if you go to their website, you can see their little YouTube video where they show their factory. So you can kind of see them making them. So it's kind of exciting to see that process. Okay, guys, I think that's it. I hope I answered all your questions. And yeah, happy skating, everyone. Just be safe. You know, that's the most important safety gear. I think a lot of times we think about all like these external safety gears, but the most important safety gear is knowing your limits, knowing how to fall, not skating faster than you can stop, not trying to do jumps and spins before you can fall and, you know, stand on one foot and hold an edge. Those are the most important things for your safety. And of course, having proper ankle support for the type of skating you're doing. So for me, that might even mean switching it up. Like I can't really do like a spider spin very good in my Harlechs or in that Noble, like they're too stiff. So if I'm gonna teach spider spin, I did actually teach it in the Harlech recently and was like, I'm not gonna teach it in Harlech again, you know? So if I do teach the spider spin, I'm gonna put on the Street Magic low cut, you know, because that's gonna give me that ankle flexibility that I need for that move. So if you don't know where you're at, I just recommend getting the Vegan Magic or the Street Magic high cut, because to me that's like start high, start with your most, you know, support, and then kind of work your way around it based on the style that you start finding as a skater. Okay, that's it. I think that's it. Blessings to everyone. Ad Gudename, Jugad Gudename, Satta Gudename, Siri Gurudevename. Safety for all of you guys. Happiness, blessings. We're doing our best. COVID, we got this. All right, everyone, stay safe. Bye-bye.